Right.
Hey, and while we have you on the phone on this rare treat, I want to ask you about the latest on the Anthony case down in Florida, because there was, I know that you had that on your show last night, and what did you make of the fact that about the video of the video of her reacting, not being released, and the photos that she's worried about, or her lawyer is worried about, Casey Anthony, God knows what those might be.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I had Kaylee Anthony's new lawyer, one of her new lawyers, she's got a whole army, on last night, and he is trying to fight. He's asking the judge not to release the videotape of when Casey was told that the remains had been found. Apparently, she got very emotional about it, and everything in Florida is videotaped, which is bizarre to most of the rest of us. But everything not only is videotaped, but it's also released. They have a very open system there. And it has its drawbacks, one is which is fairness to the person accused if it poisons the jury. But anyway, this videotape is supposed to be released as part of their sunshine law. And so the lawyer doesn't want it released because he says he doesn't want to poison the potential jury pool. Now the prosecutor, which I do not understand, is neutral on the issue. And of course the media wants to get it out. Our job is to get information out, so we're clamoring for it. If I were the prosecutor, I would join with the defense to try to keep this hid, because the last thing that the prosecutor wants to do is to have this tape come out, get released in the media, we then show it, and then later, let's say that they get a conviction against Casey, and one of the issues on appeal is whether or not the jury pool was poisoned because of this very emotional tape being released. And so the prosecutor, though, never wanting to give in to the defense, rather than saying, I join the defense on this, at best says neutral. But if I were the prosecutor, I'd join the defense on this, and I would require the media to do everything it could to jump through the hoops to get the tape.
Do you know what's amazing? As a former detective investigator with the NYPD, I could see both sides. I don't know what's on that tape, as you don't, and the defense attorney does, but I could play it both ways. I could play it that she got so emotionally, she knew it was blocked from her house, she really figured it was her daughter, and that's why she vomited, and that's why she lost it in the infirmary in the jail. So I could play it both ways.
Agreed, but here's the problem. I totally agree with you, but the last thing the defense wants to do is be explaining something.
Correct.
Enough explained to do. Secondly, is if you don't like her, you tend to take the explanation that's not very favorable to her, and there's really nothing very likable about a woman who's charged with murdering her daughter and leaving the remains, maybe presumably a block or two from the house, and lying about it, and going and getting a tattoo, and going to parties, and going to bars. So it's like, yes, intellectually you can argue it both ways. As a practical matter, she's not likable.
Right.
And she has enough to explain already.
Yeah, she got a lot of explaining to do.
She didn't want to miss happy hour. Come on.
It's like, the defense team is like, they've got, it's one thing to explain one thing away, but they have so much to explain that it makes it really, really hard.
Right.
And we've got the court date, and the trial is tentatively set for October, right?
Yes, but the defense is going to file a motion to change the venue, and it's a state prosecution, so it's going to get changed to someplace in Florida. Now, the defense really wants Miami. They think that the Miami jury would be more favorable to them. The prosecution, if it gets moved, would prefer someplace like Tampa. So they're battling it out. They're both sort of angling. The motion hasn't yet been filed, but the reason why you file a motion like that is because you want to find people who can be fair. Not that they've never heard of the case, but could be fair. And this has been so broadcast all over the state that probably a lot of people have heard. It doesn't make much difference moving it. But here's the real truth that we defense lawyers never like to admit, is that there are a lot of people that don't watch us. And so there are a lot of people who actually haven't heard about the case, even the ones who live in the community. We in the media just aren't that interesting. They're not tuning into us that night.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, Greta, you and I were there for the jury selection in the Scott Peterson trial, and Michael Jackson for that matter, and it was surprising that at times, some of us assumed, I assumed, well, everybody knows about the case, and you'd really get people that would be in that box, and they'd say, well, I think I heard a little something about it.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I think a lot of them want to get on the jury. A lot of them want to get on the jury.
Yeah. You want to look at those motivations. Maybe they think they're going to write a book, or maybe they think they're going to get some notoriety.
If they haven't heard about it, then they're not a meaningful member of society. See ya.
All right, Greta. Well,
Look at the picture I just posted on Greta Wire.
You did?
I posted it.
Aw.
You have to pull it up.
Room.
Yeah, I've got to, yeah, we'll see if we can hold it.
Greta, do you remember?
I'll do that while you're doing that.
Do you remember when we first met?
Who's talking?
Bill Stanton.
Oh, yes, of course I do. You gave me a ride to 9/11, didn't you give me a ride down to the...
I gave you a ride. I gave you a big tour. Gave you a ride.
Okay.
Yes, I was your towel boy. I was your cabana boy.
Weren't you the guy driving the car?
Yes, I was the guy driving. I was holding a pocketbook.
How could you have forgotten that?
That's 8 years ago. I pulled that right out of my memory.
Very good
And that's the
memory.
memory you have. I was your water
You know
boy.
what? I actually would call you a very good driver.
And you
In
didn't.
fact, you were one of the best drivers I've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good memory.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
I hope you have somebody recording this at
And
home.
she
I didn't drive. It was the police department. We had someone from the chief of detective. Let me not
Oh,
get
no
the
wonder I
question.
got there safely.
So you can't even verify for his driving.
Well, you know what? You know what?
You
My,
protected
Greta,
her
all I
very
can say
well.
is my ego was getting too big, and you just firmly put it in place. No worries.
For the defense, is there going to be any talk of mental health issues or personality disorder?
Now,
Bill?
what case?
No.
I need him now.
On the Anthony,
I mean, or on me and not remembering.
I think on the Anthony case.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Well, of course. I mean, look, you know, for years I did defense work. If the facts aren't on your side, you got to do something.
You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
grief can be
great.
highly individual, mental health issues, personality
Yeah,
disorders.
but here's, you know what the problem is? That the insanity defense is a legal defense. And what you have to establish is that your client did know right from wrong. Here's the problem that the defense has, in this case, if they're going to say she's insane. The fact that she hid the child and made up a story and didn't tell the truth in some ways suggests that she knew that she needed to cover herself. That suggests she knows right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a problem.
Yes, I was just thinking for sympathy or some kind of sympathy.
You can't get sympathy when a mother's child is missing and she's out at a bar with pictures and then she goes to get tattoos and the tattoo that she got because I went to the tattoo parlor was something like "What a Beautiful Life" or something like that.
No, you're
You know,
right.
There's nothing
problem.
likable.
It is. It's true. And again, grief can be highly individual, but this would be very much a hard sell to most people.
It's like, you know, we used to call these cases.
Anyone in the United States.
I don't know what the verdict is going to be. I have no idea. She may be found not guilty. She may be found not guilty by saying, I don't know what it is. But I know the discussion going into this trial among the defense lawyers would be, as we refer in where I practice law here, is we refer to this as, quote, a slow plea. Meaning that
Yes.
it's essentially a plea of guilty, but you're going to trial, so it's going to take a month.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it's a slow plea.
Mm-hmm.